How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you, Emily?
I'm good.
Did you enjoy your weekend?
Yes.
Me too. I ran up and down the top of the Struggle hill climb, which was the National Hill Climb Champs, about 100 times. My legs are absolutely fluffed.
Were you running your Garmin? Were you recording the activity?
No, so technically I haven't done any of it, which is disappointing.
Oh, jeez.
My watch told me off. It said, you're very tired, you should have another rest day.
Did you?
No, I've come to work, which is not restful.
But that was 2 days ago.
Was it 2 days?
Have you lost a day?
No, yesterday I did a turbo.
And edited for 12 hours.
Yeah, I spent a long time editing. So we were at the National Hill Climb Champs, and these guys weighed over 70 bikes at the top of the climb. Missed the whole hill climb event. It was great atmosphere, which I got to enjoy, and you didn't get to see any of.
Well, I was meant to be competing because that was, it's literally been the pinnacle event for me for my entire cycling career.
Yeah,
and I got an entry, had my start time all logged in, and I said to you earlier in the week, you and Emily, right, so my time's this. Does that work? And you both said no.
You would have won
Well, I could have.
the Lanterne Rouge.
I could have because I was entered. But we'll never know because of you people.
We're never going to know.
I mean, we might know. We might know that you wouldn't have won.
Do we though? I had a 7 kilo steel race bike.
You were meant to be racing and then you were meant to be presenting, but you couldn't remember the questions to ask.
Oh, so you're digging me out now as well.
So it was an amazing event. We have produced a bunch of content on the YouTube channel. If anyone wanted to check it out, there's a 26-minute video featuring over 70 bikes. I think it might be 70, maybe 71. Of all different varieties. There's the super light bikes, the people with the weight weenies who are shaving off bits of handlebar and gluing on their saddles and gluing their cleats. Was that one of those guys? And right up to steel bikes. There's a guy riding like a 10 kilo, 11 kilo steel bike, which was nice to see. There's loads of normal bikes there.
My hero.
Yeah, really good, really good. And lots of weird and wonderful stuff. So if you want to see some of that, check it out on the YouTube channel. The big news was that the event was won by Andrew Feather on disc brakes. Road CC called it a dark day for cycling.
Is it actually confirmed that it's the first time it's happened?
The first National Hill Climb Champs, I believe.
So we're pretty confident that's accurate. A lot of people have claimed it. I'm guessing it is.
I think so.
If Andrew Feather, that is his name, isn't it, Andrew?
I think he's won it every year. He's a pretty legitimate source.
If
he
he's
wins
the
it every
source,
single year.
then it must be true.
Yeah. No, I got to be honest, I didn't know enough about Andrew Feather when we talked about it in the last podcast. And I thought he was mainly good at the shorter hill climbs, like your normal hill climb specialist, British hill climb specialist, the rides are fairly short, 2, 3, 4 minute efforts. The struggle is like 12 minutes long, 13 minutes long. So I thought maybe Ed would have more of a chance, who is his biggest competitor. But no, they're both really good at this kind of distance as well. So it proved, they were leagues ahead. What was the guy who came third was over a minute down.
On Andrew.
Yeah.
And Ed was...
Close to a minute there as well.
Ed was 18 minutes down on Andrew.
Seconds.
And then third place was 1 minute 17 down on first.
Ed Laverick, who obviously came second, he wrote on Strava, absolutely gutted and in total disbelief. I was so sure that this, the single greatest performance of my whole career, would be enough. I got the 445 watt, 7.4 watts per kilo pacing bang on. 7.4 watts per kilo. Which was the breakthrough performance I had last week in training. And I was in no doubt with myself that I could replicate it. Then I could do more than enough based on the performances in the run-up. Speaking from the heart, I expected to win and was in full belief with my prep, my pacing, and the huge support from everyone on this big day. I'm totally dejected that this performance wasn't enough to win this year, and I leave feeling lost, dejected, and empty. I'll get ribbed for taking it so seriously, but it's just how I feel. Sharing is caring. Well done, Andy, for taking the win. To all those that took on the hill, those that filled the podium spots, and those first-timers, thank you to the wonderful organisers too. I think that's a very nice statement, and I don't think it's fair that he'd get ribbed for caring.
I hope
about what he does.
Has some good mates around him, because my experience of people really go into town on an effort is there's always a bit of a fallout afterwards.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's got good mates around him, good family around him, and he rides the wave over the next couple of weeks, which inevitably is going to have a lot of ups and downs because, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. You know, it's hard. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal. But he should be, you know, I hope he gets to the point that he is happy with what happened, because obviously what he's done is unbelievable.
It's crazy. Those it's astronomical numbers they're producing.
Mm.
Those guys are in a league of their own. This is professional level, like world tour power numbers. We're talking from both of them. It's obscene.
Why are they not in the world tour then?
Because they got jobs.
Well, why?
I mean, I can't really speak for Ed because I haven't spoken to him about this, but I get the vibe that he enjoys what he does now, which is producing YouTube content, coaching, and doing these kind of shorter hill climb events as a specialist. He enjoys that much more than he used to with traditional racing when he was a professional. He rode for JLT Condor and a couple of other teams, a very high level, full time.
So basically the top end of British.
Yeah, top end of British stuff.
Well,
even that, the JLT Condor team run by John Herity, fantastic DS, and he was known for always taking his riders to abroad, to big stage races. You know, they would be doing like Tour of Japan and things like that. So there was always really big events that they were doing. So it was more of like a pro lifestyle compared to some of the British teams. But yeah, Ed's had a taste of both clearly, and he likes what he's doing now. So
it's interesting. I would like, we should maybe have a chat with Ed sometime. Maybe get
definitely.
him on the podcast, because he will be able to explain the difference. And I think this is the bit I find really interesting, is what is the difference between a British hill climb specialist like him and Pogacar? You know, like the top end of professional cyclists, like how are they actually different athletes?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's no way we don't know that. So maybe we should get him in and have a chat about that, because I think that's a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, there's only so much you get from looking at the power numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go like, oh yeah, they're close, so they must perform the same. But their training is so specific. It's a bit like the British crits, the Tour Series crits. There's been World Tour riders. There's been World Tour riders in the past who've come and entered, they've stepped down from World Tour, ended up in Tour Series, and they're like, what the hell is this? This is so fast. And they're not winning off the bat because it's a very specific skill. And I think the same thing with hill climbs. If you train for it specifically, and Ed is predisposed to being good at those kind of events. So yeah, we'll get him on. Ed, if you want to come and be on podcast.
I guess now that I have all of this hill climb fitness ready for the event that I didn't get to do, I should probably just roll it on into next year.
Yeah.
So
you got mad TSS right now from the couple of rides you did with me.
So if you guys are planning on doing more videos for Cade Media next year, I'm not interested. I'm going to be competing. Just so you know, I'm putting that out there now.
I'm excited to see it.
12 months notice as a holiday request.
I'm excited.
What else happened? Oh yeah, do you remember? So Nick casually said to me, mechanic Nick, who's always with us and featured in loads of videos, he was just like, oh yeah, I might come down to the hill climb. I was like, oh, just jump in with us. And then just before we started setting up to spend 5 hours filming or whatever it was, I was like, oh, like, what are you planning? Where are you going to go? He was just like, oh, I'll just hang around with you guys. I was like, all right, I'll give you a job then. So we gave him 5 hours worth of weighing bikes.
He didn't see any of the race. So his exciting holiday, surprise holiday, entailed sharing a bed with me in a Premier Inn.
Yep.
Me telling him 15 times during the night, I don't know what intervals, to stop snoring, please. I got 0 sleep, and then we weighed bikes all day. Mm-hmm. But I think he still had a nice time. He was very happy.
Oh, he loves it, doesn't
he? He likes to look at the bikes rather than the riders on the thing. Although it would have been nice I could have given him a break, and I didn't because I was busy filming the T-Rex on the climb.
I did shout at him a few times because, as you know, Nick loves to talk. And there's lots of people there he knows, so he'd be chatting away, and I would just be like, Nick, get back here.
He gets distracted.
So yeah, I put him to work, which is a bit harsh, I guess.
Bit harsh. Other standout performance I want to mention is our good friend, Harry Mack, who forgot his skin suit. So he was wearing Calvin's. Calvin's a lot smaller than Harry. So he's wearing Calvin's jersey, which I think ended up quite aero because it was tight on Harry. Pink jersey. Rocked up to the start line. Rode up the climb. Was high-fiving people on the way up. Finished fourth. 6 seconds off a podium, which the skin suit, I mean, you can never, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Probably would have come third. Got to the top of the climb. Someone gave him a beer straight away, which he downed.
By the time I interviewed him, he was...
Maybe it was more than one beer.
Yeah, he was in his own world. Funny.
I love Harry's approach to bike racing.
Well, he was shouting at people after he crossed the line because he carried on riding. And obviously, just past the line is everyone that's passed out on the floor, and he was just shouting, "Get out of the way!"
Yeah, he just rode past. He rode through. Maybe he was just on a normal ride. Maybe he didn't even know he was doing the hill climb. All these people on the climb.
Perhaps, yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
Have you ever seen a Remy Gaillard video? That's my French pronunciation. Remy Gaillard. He was an old, like, French prankster. He made loads of videos around year 2000s, you know, like the classic YouTube pranks before YouTube pranks were a thing. And there's one called Tour de France.
Right.
I think put a link to it somewhere in this video description. And basically, Remy organized a crowd of 200, 250 people, all dressed in like, it was like being at the struggle, you know, mad like cycling fans with banners, vuvuzelas, all of these cowbells and stuff, and just descended on a climb round one of the bends of Alpe d'Huez, or similar climb in France. I didn't recognize it. And then they just catch people unawares as they climbed up the climb. And they're just out for their normal ride. And then suddenly like a motorbike comes past with a lap board. And then they think they've been mistaken as in the race. It's a very good video.
You'd absolutely crap yourself if that happened, wouldn't you?
I'd be like,
get
oh, I'm
such a
not.
shock.
The guys are going like, oh, I'm not in the race. I'm not in the race. But it's like so many people, and they're all like patting him on the back.
That's quite good,
It took
actually.
you a minute to work out what I was saying. Then you seem very unamused, and now you're like, oh, actually, I'd have a bit of that.
Well, I was
You would love that.
I was like, what would I do in that scenario? And I was like, well,
Join in.
I don't know. I don't know what I'd do.
I feel like I need to apologise to the guy that we interviewed. And he was really excited about being interviewed. And then once we'd finished, he went off and was like, yes, I'm going to be on GCN. And I was like,
Oh,
that's not us.
where were GCN? They were there apparently. A video appeared. I didn't see any.
Apparently, they just send drones everywhere now. They just record from Bristol or wherever they are.
Just long range drone.
Just everything's done by drone now because they're pretty tech.
That's big time.